All right, I am right back with another video talking about the National Youth Gathering that was in New Orleans, Louisiana this past at the end of July, July 19th, 2023 to the 23rd of 2025. As I said in the previous video, I'm recording these back to back, so that's why it looks like I'm wearing the same clothes. But they're not going to release all at the same time. I'm going to have them kind of as a timed release, hopefully. But anyways, the last video I kind of just talked about the quality of the week and some of the things that were done, but now I kind of want to talk about the themes. So the verse of the week, let me bring this up. All right, so the theme right here, you're seeing an English Standard Version. Hebrews 12, verse 1 through 3. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured from sinners such hostility against him, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. All right, so that's the verse. So you heard this theme about consider him who endured, looking to Jesus. This was night 2, and so it's they got you. You focusing everything through the lens of what Jesus has done. Jesus was rejected. He was abandoned. He was hated. He was nailed to a cross. He died. And by that, and he did it with joy. And I love the line that Flame gave as when he says, for the joy. What joy? What joy? You are the joy. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful. You are the joy. Why? Why are you the joy? Is it because, maybe you're really pretty, you get beautiful hair? Or is it because, sorry, fell out of the mirror, but because you're a mighty football player and you could throw 50 touchdowns a season? Is it because of that? No. Why? Why the joy? Is it because you're really, really smart, you get the best grades? Is it because you're a dynamite golfer? Or maybe you're really good at video games? Or maybe you dress really snazzy? Is it because of any of these things? No, it is because God created you. Think about that. That's your value. Your value is not in the things you've done and the things you could do, the things that maybe you kept yourself from doing. It's not because you're like a super nice person. Your value is in the reality that God created you. He said, let there be light, there was light. But you get to day 6, he created the man from the dust of the earth, and the woman from the rib of the man who was created from the dust of the earth. You were created by God. And that gives you value that no one can take away from you. And it's for that reason that Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, for the joy that is you, endured the cross, despising the shame. Cool. That was how the first night went, focused on that theme. Night 2, they began to dive into the theme of the cloud of witnesses. And when the writer to the Hebrews, which, by the way, we don't know who wrote Hebrews, there's debate. I've heard many people sometimes say Paul. I heard an argument for the Gospel of John. Here, the word witnesses, John loves that term, witness. I've heard a lot of theories. I've even heard like Apollos or whatever. But the bottom line is we don't really know. But the writer to the Hebrews, he says this, but since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, this is right after chapter 11, where he goes through this list or litany of people of the Old Testament, these heroes of the faith. It's like by faith, Abraham, by faith, David, by faith, by faith, by faith. They keep going over and over and over. And And then finally gets to, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. So there's kind of there's multiple layers to this. Is the cloud of witnesses is talking about the heroes of the faith. We have the Bible. This is why we learn about the saints. It's okay. We're Lutherans. We could talk about the saints, right? We may not talk about the same way as Catholics, Roman Catholics might, but it's okay to talk about them. The saints serve as an example. They serve as a model for ways that Christians can live the faith. And so we are surrounded by those witnesses. We have so much written about them. We could also talk about the witnesses of those around us. I mean, we were amongst 20,000 youth, 20,000 high schoolers from all around the world. There's 9 different countries that were represented. That's a cloud of witnesses. And whenever you gather for worship with your congregation that averages, 15 per week, or a congregation that averages a couple thousand per week, you are around a cloud of witnesses. And they really emphasize that. And the importance of being around people. God created us to be in relationship with other people. Created us for community. And so he strengthens us with one another. There's another aspect to this cloud of witnesses that didn't completely get touched on. It did a little bit in one of the Bible studies, because each day there was a Bible study in the morning. And our teachers, they did a really good job. But there was... they actually talked about a little bit, but I was hoping it brought up on the main stage. But the cloud of witnesses also talk about those who died in the faith, and I don't mean just as a memory. It's the reality, and Hebrews 12 kind of leads us in this direction. It's talk about those who gather with us also at the altar. This is kind of the idea of the original idea behind stained glass windows, or if you go to the Eastern Orthodox churches, their icons. Is they usually would have these figures of the faith lining the building. And the idea was to remind you that even as we worship, we are surrounded by the cloud of witnesses. But also, when we come up to the Lord's Supper, especially, because the Lord's Supper is a place where heaven and earth meet. And so there, you meet with those who died in the faith. Like I told one of our youth just this morning, before at breakfast, and we were on our way back. I said to her, told her about her grandmother. Her grandmother was very of great joy that she got confirmed, and I reminded her that when she goes up to the Lord's Supper, her grandma's there waiting for her. I mean, such a beautiful thing, just a beautiful image. That's that cloud of witnesses too. And it's a beautiful comfort for anybody that's lost somebody that they love in the faith. There's also, then on one of the nights, I love they pointed in, focused on vocation. Because they showed this video, and you saw like a police officer, you saw a nurse, you saw, a former military. You saw somebody who's an actor, a baseball player. You saw all these different people who were Christians living out their Christian life in their various vocations. And first off, and I love President Harrison talked about this, is that, we need 1,000 of the 20,000 people there, we needed 1,000 of them to go into church work. Now. We need it now because we have a shortage of pastors, DCEs, Lutheran school teachers, etc., etc. But at the same time, you didn't say we need 20,000 because we also need the other fields. We need people in those other fields to go to a Concordia if you can, to learn about your profession, to study your profession, but at the same time, do it through the lens of Jesus, the founder, perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. And I like that they showed that God created us with gifts. He gave us abilities to serve our neighbor, to serve the people in our area. And God puts you where you are. I see this sometimes in certain ministries where they devalue other vocations. I see this, For example, when a youth group on a school night, when school's the next day, they will permit their kids to be at their church up until midnight or even later, therefore directly hindering their development as they go through school. This is irresponsible. All right? I mean, unless there's an emergency situation, there is no real good reason to do that. And you're hindering their vocation because God places them in those schools to get that education. While they're getting that education, they are there to be servants, to be masks of Jesus to their brothers and to those who they go to school with. And he's preparing them for something else in life. Where there, they will again be his mask, be Christ, be Jesus to the people in their life. So I love that they celebrated that doctrine of vocation. Like I said, it's a great week, and we endure through these things. God carries us through these things, and sometimes he uses us to strengthen others so that they may endure. Because difficulty is so much harder when you're alone. And as I said in my first video, the loneliness thing, I totally get it. I'm a pastor. I am not married. I don't have kids. I live in a town of about 2,000 people, and I absolutely love being a pastor here. But the loneliness, the isolation, I know very well what that is. And there are times that I struggle with it. And I know that I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only one on that. And I don't know the perfect answer to solve that in every situation. Every situation is different because if I always knew, I might figure it out myself. But it's with that in mind that's how I know the importance of being with other people. Because when I do get those opportunities, I treasure it. I treasure those opportunities with others. God strengthens us when we're with other people. We become weaker the more and more we withdraw. So, I'm going to record one more video about the gathering, and this is kind of, again, for the kids to kind of reflect on the things that happened, or anybody that's watching this reflecting on the things that happened, and even to get myself to run through my mind the things that happened this week, and hopefully let the parents know what would happen and all that. So, blessings, and again, you're going to see them in the same attire in the next video because, again, I'm recording them back to back, so I don't, because otherwise I'm going to forget to finish this up, all right? So, blessings to you. In Jesus' name, amen.